All right, so I have a really important lesson I want to talk about today for the earnings strategy, and it comes out of the experience we had this week. When we look back at this week, right, it's Friday, we do our week in review thing. We basically see that every single day we were able to place, 3 to 5 trades for earnings pretty much. And it was a little bit turbulent though, because every single day we would have, let's say we placed 5 trades, 4 of them would be winners, but every day we would have this one big loser that would just drag down the portfolio. Right, so like for example, yesterday we had Coin, AEM, IP, Hood, and BTU and Siri. We had 6 trades on. All of them went well except for IP. IP was an almost 200% loser and knocked out all of the other positions. And when you have this kind of an experience, right, it's a little demotivating, right? It's like, oh man, I seem to be doing so much well here. Like things are kind of working the way I thought. But on these days where I should be, squeaking out these winners, one trade drags down the whole portfolio, and it's just like, what's going on here? And it's very easy to start adjusting the strategy. It's very easy to start saying that we are going to, sit out for a few days, see how things play out, or we're going to reduce the number of trades. No, I'm just getting a little greedy with how many positions I'm trying to get on. In reality, all of this is just variance, right? It's just a part of running the strategy. Things like this will happen. You'll have days much worse than this for sure. I will have days much worse than this. But it's very tempting to adjust things. And that's the lesson that I want to talk about today. We need to not do that. We need to make sure that when we run this earning strategy, we continue to diversify and we stay in the game. That's the big one, right? We need to stay in the game. What we have seen in the last week does not indicate to us that the earnings risk premium no longer exists, right? What we've seen is, some losses, but that doesn't mean that the strategy is no longer working. Our timeline and our sample size for saying that is so small that it's literally just our bias talking. And the problem with that is what we saw today. So for example, between Monday and Thursday, we had, break-evens and losers throughout the whole week. I think up until this morning, we were down $50. But today we had Apple and Wayfair, and both of those were basically 100% winners. We sold vol on both of them. Neither of them really moved, and we basically got our max profit. We sized each of these trades just as we would with the other ones. And because of that, it was the equivalent of just getting 2 max winners. And that dragged us way back into the profits for the week. And that never would have happened if I had sat out today, because yesterday we, took a bit of a hit, right? And that's the thing with earnings. All of these events are uncorrelated with one another. Just because, IP smoked us doesn't mean that Apple's going to smoke us. Doesn't mean that Wayfair is going to smoke us. It doesn't mean the trades that we'll take next week are going to smoke us. Some of them will, but we are playing this game of selling a risk premium. There will be trades that we take a hit on. And that is why the premium exists for us. So I just want to make a quick video explaining that and saying, hey, keep in mind that even if you take a few bad trades, the question you should be asking is, do I still believe that the risk premium exists? And if we still believe that the risk premium exists, then we should continue to run the strategy, regardless of the individual trade outcome. If a trade outcome is causing you way too much stress, then you should probably size down the positions as much as possible. And if the strategy is just not for you, then sure, stop running it, whatever. Like if, you got to live as well. But assuming that's not the case and it's more so just like, man, is this actually working or not? I don't see any evidence right now saying it's not. In fact, we're up, right? So just wanted to share that with you because some of you maybe had a few less trades on yesterday, for example, but IP was still one of them, which means you took a bigger hit than I did. And in that case, I don't want you to feel like you've done something terribly wrong. I don't want you to feel like you need to sit out for a bit and watch what's going on. These are all just not the reality when it comes to the strategy, not the things that you need to do. So keep that in mind. We'll talk quickly about the other strategies here. So I'd love to see that, a nice green day in the portfolio. We have our ETF trades on still, right? So we have EWZ, we have XLF, XLP, XLV, looking all right across the board here. I'm a little bit iffy about next week with the US elections coming up. I was actually thinking about sizing up the ETF trades for this portfolio, basically doubling it. I think we have enough liquidity to pull that off. But we will see. I might not do it next week. I might do it the week after. I'll make a decision by the end of day today, and I'd love to chat with you about it as well. The last thing I'll note here, just a little sneak peek maybe, if you've made it this far in the video. So what I'm thinking about as well is there's this calendar spread strategy that we used to run as a community based on something called the forward factor from a research paper we read by Jim Camposano. And I've kind of swept that strategy under the rug for a while. We've kind of pretended it doesn't exist for some reason. But I've been talking to a few members, and they've told me that they are still running the strategy with a great degree of success. And what it looks like is this might be the perfect strategy to trade in between earnings seasons. A lot of the forward factor opportunities, a lot of these calendar spread trades come up after earnings, meaning, hey, that's the perfect thing to be trading when there's no earnings coming up. And so we could see this world form for PA where we have the earnings season and we have non-earning season. In the earnings season, we do obviously earnings. In the non-earning season, we do the calendar spreads, and then over the whole time, we're doing the ETF strategy too. And that basically just allows us to be more efficient with our capital throughout the year. And that could be a really good way to go. So if you want to chat about that, go ahead and get the Jim Camposano paper. Just look up Jim Camposano term structure and give that a read. And then we can chat about it in the Discord, or if you're not a member, feel free to leave a comment on this video. We can yap about it. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, I hope everyone has had a successful day like this. I hope it was great. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'm looking forward to jumping back into earnings next week. Take care, everyone. Happy trading.